Hello everybody, welcome to this little demo of how to do an ABS system function test on this FJR 1300. This is a little job I've been meaning to do for a while, since I bled through all the brakes and flushed the fluid, but only had the special tool arrive about a month ago. It's been sitting on the bench just waiting for me to have some time. This is one of these jobs that really you should be doing every time really you change the fluid out. The reason for it is that by doing the ABS function test, you cycle the system and A, stop the little internal valves seizing up, which they have a habit to do if corrosion builds up, and B, it removes any sludge and deposits within the pump. It's not a very complicated test. The biggest problem is actually finding the coupling we put in the special tool. So, with no further ado, we'll crack on and get this sorted out. Stop.
Right, let's get going. Well, the first thing to look at is our tools we're going to need. Well, here's the patch lead we need. This one's a very straightforward little item. You could actually make one yourself. The bit that does the job for us here is this little loop here. So you could manufacture your own using two small spade clips here, piece of wire to loop it through. The real thing, of course, is to make sure you actually are connecting the right plugs. So from this point of view, there's a slot which will only allow this socket to go in one way. So essentially it's not symmetrical. That slot goes to the wall of one of these edge of these plugs, then there's a gap on the far side, and it's on the far side that we have this bridge. I bought the official one because simply I didn't know which leads needed to be shorted out, and also this plug does a few other things as well. Particularly, I believe it's used if you have to adjust the idle on the the engagement point on the AS variant, which I have. But I don't actually know how to use that at the moment. But anyway, multifunction tool here. The other thing we need is a 4mm hex drive to take a couple of bolts out to get the panel off the battery, and a little flat blade screwdriver to help us remove the plug to allow us to attach the tool. The other thing, of course, we have is the instructions. I will set up a proper screenshot of this at the end of the video for you. This is the little information sheet that came with the patch lead, which I bought from the UK Yamaha FJR Owners Club. Whole unit cost about £14. The system, if you're using the workshop manual, the service said there are two tests outlined here. Number one is if you've dismantled the system and rebuilt it, and essentially it's a test just to see whether you've got all the lines in the right place. But we're more interested in number two, and that is outlined on 4-67 in the right hand column. So the first thing they check is check your voltage. Basically they want battery voltage higher than 12.8. In other words, the battery needs to be fresh for this to work. And the next thing, as we can see here, is we've got a sequence of pictures on what to do. So essentially we find our little socket, plug in our tool. Next thing is we turn the run switch, the kill switch, to the off position. Power gets turned on, and then we operate the brake lever and the pedal together. As I say, it's all outlined here, and then what will happen is we get a series of pulses initially through the brake lever, then through the foot lever, and then it flips back onto the hand lever again. We will also possibly get some fault codes coming up on the display up near where the odometer is. These can be cleared out quite simply. Basically, turn the switch back to run and press the starter rapidly. The code numbers refer to any possible faults in the system, and generally speaking, if you get a 15 or 25, that usually refers to if you've had an ABS event. I.e., in my case, I had that because I managed to lock up. I forgot that I had an ABS bike and engaged the gear, put the bike into gear on its stand and spun up the rear wheel, and this drove the ABS system nuts. So anyway, with no further ado, let's crack on. Right, first thing we're going to do is remove this inner panel, this on the right. The actual plug we need to get is actually down here next to the battery below this headlamp adjustment knob. So first thing to do is 2 Allen bolts, and then we've got one of these little push-in studs. So we'll just get those out. Yes, Lord?
How many views do you get on your YouTube?
No. Right, so let's put these in a safe place, having just dropped it. I'll pick that up in a moment. The next thing we've got to do is extract a little plastic stud down here, and to that we just need something to push in the little tab there, and then we can get it out. Right, the little plastic retaining stud that we have is down here. Now this is one of these little devices. It's got a movable center. So the way to do it is you get a little screwdriver, or in this case a small hex drive. Just put it in the center, pop it in, and then we can reach around, and you can see here we have. And to put it back in is the reverse. We just push that through, slide it into the hole, pop that through, and it's locked. So again, to get these things out, push the center in like that, and it just comes out. Okay, so we'll put this again in a safe place. So now, as we can see, this panel just lifts out, and we have the battery down here beneath. The next thing now, we need to locate the actual terminal that we need. Now, word of warning, it's very difficult to see this thing. My initial thoughts was that was it down here, because all it says is it's next to the positive terminal in the battery. That is not. That is the mains 50 amp fuse. I managed to ping it off and then promptly drop the fuse into the fairing. Not a good idea. What we're looking for is this little device here. It looks like it's actually going into the light into the main headlamps and that, but it's not. So to get this off, first thing we've got to do is just push the lead away, and you can see there's a little tang there that holds this thing on a retaining clip. So we push that in and then just slide this out. If you guys can see, out like this. So what we get here is this little device here. Now this is just a blanking plug. So all we need to do is remove it. So again, just lift that up, and with a bit of luck, that should just slide out like so. So you can see we have our 4 terminals there, and that divider, and that is polar, so you can't get these things in the wrong way. Okay, so we've done that. Next thing, attach our tool. And as you can see, essentially the terminals that this is bridging are these 2 top ones, the nearest to the retainer, to the movable clip. So this just goes in like so. And whenever you're doing this, if you've got your granddaughter with you talking behind you, you've got to pay attention.
Hi.
See, there we go. There's her claim to fame. Right, so we've got this in, and we're good to go. Right, so we've now got the thing running, and we can see we've got the ABS light flashing. Everything is switched up as we have to. So the next thing to do is just get on the bike, hold the starter down for 4 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Apply the brake, and we can get some pulses there. Then it gives a couple of pulses down there. Then it repeats the cycle, and we get it at the hand lever. And that's the ABS cycle done. So again, hold the starter in for 4 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Apply the brakes, and it'll run through its test again. Okay. And now you can see, normally if you have any faults, they will come up here on the odometer there, and we have the ABS light flashes normally. That's quite normal because we've still got the test running at the moment. The test lead still in. That won't go off until you remove the test lead. If you do have faults, fault code showing, we turn the switch back to run, and if you just thumb the starter button, that will clear them. But I do suggest that you look at the numbers and make sure there's nothing too odd. As I say, something usually, mine had 11 and 25, which essentially simply related to an ABS event I had by accidentally forgetting I'd got an ABS bike and putting the bike in gear while I was on the stand. So of course that gave it what it believed to be an ABS event. So to sum up, we'll run through that test again for you from the beginning. So the sequence is everything we've got here all plugged in. Switch to off.
It's gone everywhere.
Okay, again we see that flashing. Hold the starter switch in, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. We apply the brakes, then we get the pulsing, and then it goes back again. And it just feels like, if you ever had ABS going on in a car, that's what it feels like.
Simon, there's only one handle.
Okay, and so that's it. That's our little ABS function test. So if we did have, so let's just reset everything, and you'll see at the moment the ABS light will be flashing, but that's quite normal. So what we'll do is turn the power off, extract the tool.
Simon, it's leaking. It's leaking.
Never mind.
It's oil.
Yeah.
Is it paused?
So we just get our little screwdriver again, lift the clip, and the tool comes out. And we can check that everything's all right. Then if we just power up, runs through its function test, and the ABS light goes out. The next case is really just put everything back in, put the little blanking plug back in its place. This slides back in onto its mounting point, which is always awkward because it needs to be essentially folded back on itself. And again, difficult to see in there. You can do it by feel. If I put a little bit of grease on there, that goes in. And the rest then is just power off and reassemble everything. Hope that's been of some use to anybody. Anything different? Any comments? Please leave them. Thumbs up, like, and
also go and check out my channel and subscribe and like all my videos, please. Thank you. Bye.
And never do this while you have your granddaughter around. Well, one last thing before I go, just on the subject of brake flushing. This being an ABS model, you require to put quite a bit more fluid through the system than you would on a non-ABS bike. The thing also to remember with these bikes is, of course, it's got a linked brake system. So essentially, the sequence would be, with the fronts, start on the left caliper, go to the right caliper, and you see there's two bleed nipples here. There's this one and this one. This one is controlled by the front brake lever, so this will be number 2 to do. Then we move on to this lower caliper. This set of pistons is controlled via the brake pedal. So we operate off the reservoir, which is back here, and then we move on to the rear caliper, which lives down here, and you had the bleed nipple just there. I put through about 1 litre and a bit of fluid through it, just to make sure it was clear. So that's quite a bit. The other thing I would really recommend for anybody who does this kind of work on their own is this little thing. It's from Halfords. It cost about £9. All it is a tube and a little bottle, and you have a one-way valve on this thing. And you just hitch it up, can operate the brake levers, and it just flushes through. So there's no need to be constantly reaching around with spanners, opening and shutting the bleed valve. Absolute simplicity in itself. Brilliant piece of kit. You can, if you don't want the bottle, you can buy the actual tube and the valve itself for about £6 or something. Well worth having. I'm sure that if you're in the States, someone like Walmart would have it in their auto sections, or just any auto factors. Anyway, that's my little bit of advice. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's any good. See you later. Bye.